So what do we know for sure? Much of the data gathered by the STIRP team is rather technical and resides in peer-reviewed scientific journals. Sadly, very little of it filtered out to the general public, who constantly hear in the popular media that the shroud is a fake or a hoax. STIRP was great at doing science, but not very good at public relations. Remember, many of them worked in the weapons field. Frankly, the guys from Los Alamos and Sandia Labs, who were both explosives weapons labs, they saw the media as the enemy, and they weren't very good. And I have always said that the biggest mistake that I can think of that STIRP made in the time that we were doing this was not getting a professional media consultant to become our spokesman that knew how to deal with the media so we could issue a little press release every day. Instead, while we were in Turin, we were forbidden to speak to the press. And all you have to do is tell a reporter, I'm sorry, I'm forbidden to talk to you. And then they chase you down the street asking you questions. And so that was the one thing we didn't do very well. And in retrospect, hindsight, of course, is 2020. Would have been great if we'd had a real pro in that position that could have handled our public relations a little better. I think STIRP's credibility might be even higher today if that had been the case. In the end, STIRP's primary goal was to answer a single question: how is the image formed? And that dictated the specific tests we performed and the resultant data that we collected. But in the end, we could not answer that single question. We could tell you what it's not a scorch, not a painting, not a rubbing, not a photograph, but we could not determine a single mechanism that could create an image with all the specific chemical and physical properties found on the shroud. So this lecture will use the STIRP data and some more recent scientific evidence to specifically address some of the most common claims made by skeptics, and that the shroud image is a medieval painting, a scorch, a rubbing, or a medieval photograph. Of course, it can't be all of them. So only one of those, assuming any of them were correct at all, only one of them could be. With that in mind, we'll exclude any anecdotal or non-scientific evidence and respond to each claim based primarily on the data collected by STIRP, the knowledge gained and conclusions drawn from that data, and the results they published in the peer-reviewed scientific literature. These are primary sources based on their direct physical examination of the cloth and should be the starting point for any researcher wanting to study the shroud. They are the foundation of the important scientific data published on this enigmatic relic. In other words, this is what we know for sure.